The 19th century historian Lord John Dahlberg Acton was quoted as saying, "I cannot accept your canon that we are to judge Pope and King unlike other men, with a favorable presumption that they do no wrong. If there is any presumption to be made, it is the other way, against holders of power. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." In a continuation of yesterday's video, it is very clear now that what was once a promising political career as a leader has now fallen to the dark side. Looking further into the recent actions of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, it is very clear he has now set himself upon a throne, as the Lich King did, with about the same intent. In today's video, I'm going to outline some things that are probably going to bother you, but they are the truth. I have been up since about 5:30 this morning doing research and looking into these things and putting this all together, and it is disturbing, to say the least, even to myself, who for the last year and a half has covered the governor, and when he has done good things, I have given him credit for it. But now he has moved into a completely different realm in the last week. It is unfortunate. One of the things that I have always talked about, the genius of our founding fathers, was that we were to be divided into states, and that the states would have the power. The people would have the power, not some centralized king or pope or government in D.C. We were supposed to be each individual and unique. I've even made the case in the last 2 years, Florida has separated itself and distinguished itself from the rest of the Union in holding to these values that we were going to go this direction while everybody else was going the other direction. I hold to that. That's the desire of the people. The man who's currently sitting in the governor's office, however, has decided he wants to take more of a British look at the future. Our founding fathers set up separation of powers. A legislative branch, of course, House and Senate, an executive branch with the president and vice president, and then, of course, the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. One thing they did, though, that was genius, is they set up a confederation of states, meaning that the states were the ultimate power. They held sway over the national government, authority concentrated in the states. But the states themselves were set up as federations. What does that mean? Well, the states themselves had their own houses of representatives, their own senates, their own courts, their own leaders. It wasn't a matter of the states being in charge with just a bunch of governors who ruled with an iron fist. Each confederated state had its own individual federation, and I've talked about this before, created this image and used it multiple times. The governor of Florida is a result, not a cause. This is the makeup of the House of Representatives of the state of Florida. I know we're 3.5 minutes in. Stick with me. This is important that we lay this groundwork, because I have spent a great deal of time talking about the governor. He has switched his attitude. The people rule in the state of Florida. The people rule. The reason Florida is a conservative place is not because of Governor DeSantis. It's because this is the makeup of the House of Representatives. This is the makeup of the Senate. Our Supreme Court is nothing but conservatives. The people are supposed to rule, not the governor. The governor does the will of the people. And even in Florida, we have another level. It's a ruling council where the governor doesn't rule alone. This is Governor DeSantis, the ruling council of Florida, Ashley Moody, the Attorney General, CFO, Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis, and of course, Nikki Fried, the Commissioner of Agriculture. This is the ruling council. So we have yet even another level of division of power. That's very important to the people of Florida, that the people make the decisions. The people control the direction of the states, not potentates. Not self-inflated tyrants. In order to be good, You must recognize the difference between right and wrong and strive to choose the right. To be truly evil, you must do the contrary, which means don't give a damn about good and right and wrong. Not recognizing the difference at all, just what's convenient now. Being good or evil is a choice. Now, 5.5 minutes in. Yesterday, if the words don't add up, it usually is because the truth wasn't included in the equation. That was the thumbnail. This, to me, was a huge red flag. There had been other things I had seen that had caused me concern, but I had let it be. The thing with guns and the thing with energy we talked about in yesterday's video. This appearance with Dave Rubin, completely out of character for anyone who actually believed what he was saying the last year and a half. This would have never gone down. But what's the real big smoking gun? This is the thing that the governor needs to be ashamed of. Heavily, heavily ashamed of. It's what he's done to contradict the people of the state of Florida, and that he's now bragging about. And it's going to open the door. It is going to open the door for Nikki Fried. Charlie Crist doesn't stand a chance, but Nikki Fried could unseat the governor. I'm calling it right now. What am I talking about? What happened that's changed from yesterday? The governor talked about the budget. The governor set a number saying, House, Senate, put together a budget and keep it under this amount of money. If you do that, I'll sign it. They did that. In fact, they kept it well within the number the governor set. And yet he still vetoed $3 billion out of it. Now, he was very particular about what he vetoed. Even though we had a $20 billion surplus, he vetoed $3 billion in things that would have helped a lot of Floridians. And the reason he did it and what he did, it was very petulant and very self-serving. Not serving the people of the state of Florida. In fact, he did something to take power away from the people and give it to himself. This article from Politico, DeSantis shows his dominance over GOP legislators. I've heard this accusation before, largely from the left, but now time has given this proof. Under past governors, it would have been unthinkable to have top legislative leaders standing nearby as the chief executive talked about a record-setting $3 billion in budget vetoes that wiped out hundreds of millions of dollars in projects, including those personally championed by the Senate President Wilton Simpson, for a new cancer center research park. And here's the key, guys. Here's the one that really set me off. Long-acting birth control for low-income women. Now, everybody's been talking about abortion this, abortion that, abortion the other. What if there was something you could do to prevent the person from getting pregnant to begin with? $2 million. $2 million. Out of a budget where $3 billion was vetoed to provide long-acting birth control options for low-income women. Now, they go through here and they talk about different things that he's done. Another one that he did was he vetoed 83 positions with the concealed carry department, meaning there was going to be a streamlining of that process so that they could issue more concealed carry licenses, and he vetoed that as well, meaning jobs for people. Now, this is about the interview that happened last night with Rubin. We're not going to really cover this, but Miami-Dade County, Florida's most populous county, by far the highest number of abortions in the state, which in turn has the nation's third highest abortion rate among states. 19 abortions per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44. Florida's rate is nearly twice the national average of around 11, which is odd because its government is altogether dominated by Republicans. That's interesting. So if there's something you could do to stop the pregnancy to begin with, so there's no even discussion about this. But it gets worse. It gets worse. The governor doesn't like to mention, and this should really set off a bunch of red flags. Florida's budget includes nearly $40 billion in federal money this year. Now, what does that mean? What that means is Washington, D.C. wrote us a check back for taxes we paid back to the state in the amount of $40 billion that was included in that budget. That wasn't money that was raised by the people of the state of Florida. That's just money coming back. Nothing should have been vetoed. That was approved, pay attention, by the people. The people put together the budget. The people, largely conservative, wildly conservative group of people, put together a budget that was within the governor's guidelines, and he still took $3 billion away, with $38 billion of that being money returned from the federal government. Now, here's the part that sent me volcanic. 2022 veto list. We're going to go down to page 11. You know, the governor's talked about, the coming recession, the coming Biden recession. All the inflation. Section 201, Inflation Fund, page 11. The people of the state of Florida budgeted $1 billion to combat inflation. That's right. $1 billion was put into the budget to set aside to deal with the coming inflation. The governor vetoed it so that he could add $1 billion to his veto number and set a record for vetoes. That's what the governor did. Instead of saying, it was only $2 billion in vetoes, it's now $3 billion, because I'm going to take this money that the people have set aside for inflation, and I'm just going to take it out of the budget and put it over here to the general fund, and I'm going to take credit for it. And in this particular case, Nikki Fried is exactly right. Compromising Floridian safety by vetoing division of licensing positions. 83 jobs, streamlining the process of issuing concealed carry permits. Now, you might not agree with concealed carry permits, but they are the law in the state of Florida. Why are they the law in the state of Florida? Because the people of the state of Florida made it the law. The vastly majority conservative people in the state of Florida made it the law. If it gets repealed, it gets repealed. And to add a cherry onto this petulant Sunday, the Tampa Bay Rays, after the Uvalde thing, came out and said, we're going to donate a certain amount of money to a gun safety fund that we agree with. The governor then took out a few $100 million that were set to build them a new training facility. That was also going to be a facility used for local youth, a park. It was going to be a whole park that the Tampa Bay Rays were going to train at, and there was going to be youth facilities and all sorts of really great things, and the governor vetoed the money because they came out and did something with an organization he didn't like. Now, remember this image that I showed about, where was it? Shame. See, this is from Game of Thrones. There was a woman in the series, Cersei Lannister, who did something, or was conducting her life in a way, that the local theocratic leaders didn't agree with. And so they put her in chains and held her in a dungeon and then walked her through the streets. Now, some of you might know what I'm talking about. Of course, she was carrying on a relationship with her brother. Now, a lot of people are like, ew, that's kind of gross. Well, ladies, if you think it's hard to find a man now, some have come to me over the Patreon channel and said, who is this mythical alpha creature that you're talking about, this alpha guy who's good and decent and honorable and that I should hook up with if shit hits the fan, all this kind of stuff. Guys like that aren't out there. If you think it's hard to find guys now, hard to find decent mates now, wind the clock back to the medieval Renaissance era when the vast majority of people couldn't read, couldn't write, didn't brush their teeth, couldn't bathe. Alcoholics. See, this particular thing that was happening between two consenting adults bothered people. It bothered people. And I'm not saying go take up with a family member, but it wasn't anybody's business, was it? It truly wasn't anybody's business. See, she was forced to marry this guy, but she was carrying on with her own brother. Now, I know this is Hollywood. I get this. But here's the key. Here's the reality of this. This is what's going to give Nikki Fried an edge. There's a group of people out there who want the government to get the hell out of their business when it comes to marijuana, when it comes to guns, when it comes to the sex trade, and when it comes to cryptocurrency. See, cryptocurrency was supposed to be the facilitator of this, of government getting the hell out of everybody's business. Wouldn't you agree? She's already courted two of these major groups. She is suing the ATF over her Second Amendment rights because she's a medical marijuana card holder. So she's already been on the side of the legalized marijuana group for a long time. This group of people and this group of people are now starting to very seriously look at Nikki Fried as an option because they've said, it's gone to the governor's head. He's too much of a tyrant. If she gets the cryptocurrency people and the legalized prostitution, sex work is honorable work, it's not your business, it's real work, especially with the recession coming that Governor DeSantis has been talking about, the Biden recession coming. Shouldn't we be doing things to help people make as much money however they want to make it, no matter what? Shouldn't we be doing that? Isn't that what a conservative would do? See, this is what people are missing. And this is what he is missing. You see, it wasn't anybody's business, but they decided to shame this character and walk her through the streets without any clothes. Is very, very horrible. But her suing the ATF, getting on the side of folks who I don't partake myself, and I know what it does to people. I've seen it happen to too many friends, but this is going to give her a distinct advantage that nobody's seeing. And I'm not saying I'm right now ready to vote for her, but I'll tell you what, it's getting close. It's getting really, really close because this crap of countermanding, line item vetoing the will of the people of the state of Florida to give yourself credit as some kind of a financial conservative, especially saying when the people said, okay, we're going to set aside $1 billion for an inflation fund, you veto it, add it to your veto total, and then say, oh, look at how much I vetoed to save everybody the money because of the coming inflation. That's cowardly horse shit right there, Governor. That is some cowardly horse shit. Period. So, when you look at it all, and you look at it completely, something very bad is going to happen, and it's just going to be the case. I would rather have Nikki Fried as governor if he continues this path. Because it's not going to change the House, it's not going to change the Senate, it's not going to change the courts. And truly, it wouldn't even change the makeup of the ruling council. Because Nikki Fried is vacating her position to run against Governor DeSantis, and Wilton Simpson, another conservative, is taking her spot. So you would still have 3 conservatives, and if Nikki Fried became governor, one Democrat. And she'd have to, get everything by the House of Representatives and the Senate that are all conservatives. So it's not like she would just have free reign like DeSantis has at the moment, that he's abusing badly. So I will leave it there, but that's the major points that I wanted to cover. The Tampa Bay Rays, the issue with the guns, the birth control, and the inflation fund. Sorry, Gov. I tried. I did. I tried my best to defend, to promote, to when you did good things. Made a big deal of it. We do live events, I do regular videos. But now, when you're doing wrong things, when you're doing crap like this, acting like Arthas Menethil, the Lich King from World of Warcraft, sorry. Truth's truth. You're just going to have to hang this chain around your neck and try to defend yourself. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.